So, I'm sure pretty much everyone here watching this video has some form of smartphone, or at the very least, some form of smart device. However, though it sounds incredibly pretentious, I'm sure many of us here, myself included, have kinda taken them for granted. A few weeks ago, I went on a late night walk with my dad through my neighborhood, and around halfway through, I noticed some very ominous looking clouds off in the distance. Being the disgusting millennial that I am, I pulled out my smartphone to check the weather and to see if there was a storm coming. It was then that I kinda just thought to myself about how absolutely insane smartphones are. Here is a widely accessible device that can tell us the weather, provide us with hours upon hours of entertainment, or even provide us with the vast majority of global human knowledge through the use of the internet. Well, not quite, but... And it all fits easily in our pockets. To top it all off, you can access this information from pretty much anywhere, assuming you have internet. This honestly flat out blows my tiny little millennial mind. I remember my first ever smart device was an iPod Touch 2nd generation. Yes, I know it isn't a smartphone, but it's my first ever smart device, so shush. Back when I found out about the iPod Touch style of device, I had no clue what they were called, which is, in my opinion, one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. You see something you really wanted, but you have no clue what it's called. I didn't actually find out what the device was called until I went over to one of my friend's house, who, fun fact, was one of the least liked people at my school. And I don't even know why. I think it was because he was always extremely hyper, but I honestly don't know. At one point in the day, I saw him pick up this strange device and go over and sit on the couch as we waited for our lunch. I saw him click on this app and he started playing Temple Run. It was then that I finally escaped the pit of not knowing the name of the thingy that you really want. .com. When I got home, I asked my parents if I could get one, and fortunately, they said yes. A few days later, the device arrived, along with an ugly yellow case, and I practically cherished this thing for the next year or so. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and the iPod eventually broke. Well, the screen did, but just let me explain. I was doing a sleepover kind of thing with my friend at the time, and we were playing one of the earlier Bloons Tower Defense games. Another fun fact, this story takes place very shortly after the creation of the video mentioned in my old channel's video that you should go watch. Wink wink. I'm still not sure what exactly happened, but something caused us to be excited, and we caused the table to shake. This table shake caused the iPod that was sitting near the edge of the table to just boop. Like, it kinda just hopped off the table. I picked it up and saw this major crack across the screen. I was mortified. At first, I kinda didn't really think it was real. I just sat there for a second, but then the panic and terror set in. To make it even more painful, it landed face down on the floor, so the case that we had bought as a precautionary measure did absolutely nothing. Here's a little side tangent. I don't understand how people are able to not have a case on their phones. Like, you're holding a quite expensive piece of technology that is prone to slipping in your hands. Do you really not want to protect it? An argument against it that I understand is that a lot of the time, getting a good case is pretty expensive. But an argument that I don't fully understand is the whole, it looks prettier without a case. I mean, I can agree that a lot of times phones look better without a case on, but is it really worth the risk of potentially cracking the screen? I mean, if your phone is like $50, I kinda understand, but if you have an iPhone, I don't know. If you have a different or a counter argument, let me know down in the comment section. Anyway, after this device, I eventually got an actual phone, as I was moving away and wanted to keep in contact with my friends. All two of them. It was an iPhone 4S, and I have a lot of fond memories with it. One thing I remember is that I never created an account for iFunny because it said 17 and up on the download screen. So my entire camera roll was filled with a bunch of pictures that I found funny because I couldn't like them due to lack of an account. I was extremely paranoid that someone would find out that I had iFunny on my phone, so I hid it in a folder on the second page so that no one would find it. I later realized that the app really isn't all that bad, and that the YouTube app is also considered 17+. So I eventually stopped caring. Right after I moved and got the phone was when I first got into YouTube, and thus the internet. And a few months later, I got into anime. I remember watching multiple entire series on the tiny little 3.5-inch screen, which is admittedly not the best thing for my eyes. At some point, my mom told me that I was eligible for an upgrade, and so I got my current phone. Just kidding, I cracked the new one. Before I get into that disaster of a story, I'll tell you that the iPhone 4S that I had previously owned is now in the hands of my little sister. And I actually don't know the status of it. I haven't seen it around in a while, and I'm not sure whether she lost it or something. I mean, I could ask her, but that would just be silly. So, on to the story of how I broke another phone. The new phone was an iPhone 5S, which is just a slightly bigger version of the one I had before, and I had set it on the bathroom counter as I went to take a shower. I had just gotten out of the shower, and I grabbed it to check if I'd gotten any notifications by some miracle. I'm pretty sure we all know that it slipped out of my hand at this point. I didn't think much of it, as it was only a 2 or 3 foot drop, and it didn't even land on its face. It landed on its side, with a case on, let me point out. I checked the screen and... What? Seriously? Seriously? What? The thing that irks me the most about this incident is that the phone had survived way higher drops and had gotten off without a scratch. So the fact that the entire screen was shattered somehow amazes me. Now, I would get into the whole Android versus Apple argument in this video, or is it Android versus iOS? But I guess that's a topic for another video. However, I can pretty much guarantee that there will be at least one person who calls me an iSheep, because I only mentioned Apple devices, and I'm 90% sure that there will be someone who claims that the only reason that my device is cracked is because they were iDevices. No, they broke because I was being stupid. To be honest, I have nothing to say for this end card, other than thank you for all the amazing fan art. You can send it to me on Twitter or Discord, both of which are down in the description. Now, I'm just gonna mumble for a few extra seconds for the fan art to scroll by, and... okay, bye.